The world is full of strange, unsettling, and downright terrifying mysteries, the kind that make you double-check your locks and question reality itself. How does someone vanish without a trace? How do crimes go unsolved for decades? How does a plane full of people disappear, leaving no evidence behind? The idea that some questions will never have answers is exactly what makes these cases so chilling. And what better time to lose sleep over them than now? From vanishing ships to mysterious disappearances, here are 15 unsolved mysteries that will definitely keep you up at night. Buckle up, because once you start watching, you won't be able to stop. Number 15. The Diatlov Pass Incident. In 1959, a group of 9 seasoned hikers set out for the Ural Mountains in Russia, expecting cold, but not death. When they never returned, a rescue team was sent to find them, and what they discovered only deepened the mystery. The hikers' tent had been slashed open from the inside, and their bodies were scattered across the snow, some found half-dressed and barefoot as if they had fled in sheer terror. Some had skulls fractured, ribs broken, and one was missing a tongue and eyes. Yet there were no signs of struggle or external wounds matching those injuries. Was it an avalanche? A military experiment? Some believe infrasound, low-frequency vibrations, drove them into a state of panic, while others point to paranormal or aliens. Over 6 decades later, the Diatlov Pass incident remains one of the most disturbing unsolved mysteries in history. Number 14. The Hinterkaifeck Murders. A family butchered on their own farm, eerie footprints in the snow, and a murderer who didn't just kill, but stayed. That's the horror of Hinterkaifeck, a 1922 German cold case that sounds like a horror film. Except it actually happened. Andreas Gruber had noticed strange footprints leading toward his farmhouse, but none left. He heard footsteps in the attic, found a missing set of house keys, and his maid quit in terror, claiming the farm was haunted. Days later, the entire household, Gruber, his wife, their daughter, her children, and the new maid, were found slaughtered with a mattock. But here's what makes this case unsettling beyond the murders. Someone stayed. The killer fed the livestock, cooked meals, and even lit fires in the fireplace before vanishing. A massive investigation turned up nothing, and to this day, whoever did it walked away, never caught, never identified. Well, we don't know about you, but this is just insane. Number 13. The Black Dahlia Murder. On January 15, 1947, the mutilated body of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short, later known as the Black Dahlia, was found in a vacant lot in Los Angeles. Her body had been severed in half, drained of blood, and posed with a chilling Glasgow-style smile carved into her face. The murder became one of the most sensationalized crimes in American history, drawing massive media attention and turning Short into a Hollywood legend for all the wrong reasons. Hundreds of suspects were questioned, including high-profile figures, but no one was ever convicted. Some believe it was the work of a sadistic serial killer, while others claim there were powerful people involved who made sure the case was buried. Despite endless speculation and multiple confessions, many of which were bogus, the true identity of her killer remains one of Hollywood's darkest mysteries, forever haunting Los Angeles with its unanswered questions. Number 12. The Ghost Ship Mary Celeste. Well, who on earth doesn't know about this creepy spook case? On December 4, 1872, the Mary Celeste was found drifting in the Atlantic Ocean, intact, undamaged, and with everything on board just as the crew had left it. Food, cargo, and valuables were untouched. The only thing missing? The entire crew. Yup, the whole. The ship's last log entry was written 10 days before it was found, and while the lifeboat was missing, there was no sign of struggle, no distress signals, and no obvious reason why an entire crew would abandon the ship. What happened? Piracy? A mutiny? A rogue wave? A sea monster? Some even suggest paranormal forces were at play, but no concrete evidence has ever been found. The Mary Celeste became one of the greatest maritime mysteries of all time, a real-life ghost story that left more questions than answers. In fact, to this day, no one knows why the crew vanished, and we probably never will. Number 11. The disappearance of Frederick Valentic. In October 1978, Frederick Valentic, a 20-year-old pilot, took off from Melbourne, Australia, for a routine flight over the Bass Strait. Things were going well, but what happened next would turn his name into one of the most chilling UFO mysteries ever recorded. Mid-flight, he radioed air traffic control, reporting a strange metallic aircraft hovering above him, flashing green lights. As his voice grew increasingly panicked, he described the object moving erratically, playing games with him. Suddenly, he reported engine trouble, followed by a strange metallic scraping sound, then silence. Valentic and his plane were never seen again. There was no wreckage and no distress signals, just a chilling final transmission that has fueled speculation for decades. Was it alien abduction? A hoax? Pilot disorientation? Well, authorities lean toward disorientation or mechanical failure, but true UFO believers are convinced this was something else entirely. Number 10. The disappearance of Malaysia Airlines. On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur, bound for Beijing, but it never made it. Somewhere over the South China Sea, the Boeing 777 carrying 239 people vanished from radar, changing course in a move that defied logic. No distress calls, no warnings, just silence. What followed was one of the most expensive and exhaustive searches in aviation history, covering thousands of miles of ocean. Over the years, fragments of debris washed up on remote islands, hinting at a tragic end somewhere in the Indian Ocean. But the main wreckage has never been found. Was it pilot sabotage, mechanical failure, a hijacking gone wrong? Theories range from deliberate murder-suicide to bizarre conspiracy-level explanations, but nothing has ever been proven. Until the plane is found, MH370 will remain one of the greatest aviation mysteries of all time, leaving families and the world without answers. Number 9. The disappearance of Brandon Swanson. In 2008, Brandon Swanson, a 19-year-old college student, was driving home from a party in Minnesota when he accidentally drove into a ditch on a remote road. He called his parents for help, assuring them he was okay and walking toward a nearby town. But then, mid-call, he suddenly shouted, "Oh, shit!" and the line went dead. His car was found, but Brandon was never seen again. There was no body, no clues, no signs of struggle, just an eerie, abrupt disappearance. Some believe he may have wandered into dangerous terrain, but why was he panicked just before the call cut out? Despite extensive searches, no trace of him has ever been found, making this one of the most unsettling missing person cases in modern history. Number 8. The Yuba County Five. In 1978, 5 friends from Yuba County, California, vanished into the wilderness without a trace. They had just attended a basketball game, stopped for snacks, and then nothing. Their car was later found abandoned on a remote mountain road, miles from civilization, with plenty of gas and no signs of mechanical failure. Months later, searchers discovered 4 of the men, dead, scattered in the woods, some deep inside a locked trailer where they had food, but never ate enough to survive. One man was never found. Why did they leave a perfectly working car? How did they end up so deep into freezing wilderness without proper gear? And why didn't they use the supplies inside the trailer to stay alive? Some suspect foul play, others blame paranoia, exposure, or something far stranger. But over 4 decades later, no one has figured out what really happened. Number 7. The Vanishing Wrecking Ball. Indianapolis, 1974. A 5-ton wrecking ball was hanging from a 200-foot crane, waiting to demolish buildings the next morning. But by the time the crew returned, gone, not dropped, not stolen with heavy machinery, just vanished. No craters, no tire tracks, no break-in marks, nothing. A 10,000-pound steel sphere doesn't just disappear, yet here we are. Investigators combed through every logical theory, stolen for scrap, moved as a prank, or misplaced. But none made sense. Who could move something that heavy without a trace? Some locals whispered government conspiracy, others pointed at UFOs, and some even joked that time travelers accidentally took it with them. The wrecking ball was never recovered, and to this day, it remains one of the most bizarre theft cases ever recorded. A heist without a motive, a crime without evidence, and a mystery that refuses to be solved. All right, guys. Now, let's about... Number 6. Kidnapped by Sasquatch. In 1924, Albert Ostman set out into the wilds of British Columbia looking for a rumored lost gold mine. Instead, he found something no one expected: Bigfoot. Ostman claimed that while asleep in his camping bag, he was lifted up and carried off for hours. When he finally escaped his restraints, he realized he was in a hidden valley, face to face with a family of Sasquatch. He spent 6 days trapped, observing them, watching how they moved, how they communicated, how they lived, before finally escaping under the cover of night. Sounds insane, right? Except his story never changed. For decades, he stuck to every detail, never asking for money or fame. What's even weirder? His descriptions of Bigfoot behavior match stories that surfaced years later, long before Sasquatch fever took over pop culture. Did he hallucinate? Make it up? Or did Albert actually become the first known person to be abducted by Bigfoot? Well, no one knows. Number 5. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse Mystery. In 1900, 3 lighthouse keepers stationed at the Flannan Isles lighthouse off the coast of Scotland disappeared without a single clue as to where they went. When a relief crew arrived, they found everything in order. Lamps were filled with oil, beds were unmade, and the logbook described a powerful storm. But here's the catch. There was no record of any storms in the area at that time. The men were simply gone. No bodies, no distress signals, just an abandoned lighthouse and an entry in the log that read, "The storm has passed, the sea is calm, God is over all." Did they fall into the ocean? Get caught in a freak wave? Abducted by something unnatural? Theories range from rogue waves to supernatural forces, but over a century later, no one knows what truly happened. The Flannan Isles mystery remains a mystery, but you can crack it if you want. Number 4. The Overtoun Bridge. For decades, dogs have been leaping to their deaths from Overtoun Bridge in Scotland. Since the 1960s, more than 50 dogs have died, and hundreds more have jumped and survived, only to try again. No one knows why. Some think the bridge is haunted, especially after a local man threw his infant son off the bridge in 1994. Others blame a scent, possibly mink, that lures dogs off the edge. Some believe a mysterious sound frequency only dogs can hear is driving them into a frenzy. The Scottish SPCA has investigated the phenomenon, but found nothing conclusive. What's even creepier? The dogs all jump from the same spot, and it only happens on clear, sunny days. Coincidence or something more? Whatever the cause, dog owners are warned to keep their pets on a leash, because once they step onto Overtoun Bridge, some never make it back. Number 3. The Big Grey Man. Scotland has its own monster, and it's not in Loch Ness. It's lurking on Ben Macdui, the country's second highest peak. Known as the Big Grey Man or Amphir Leith Moor, this towering humanoid figure has been stalking hikers for centuries. Unlike Bigfoot, the Big Grey Man isn't just about sightings, he's heard before he's seen. Nearly all reports describe loud, heavy footsteps crunching on gravel, following hikers through the misty, desolate peaks. Those who've seen it describe a 10-foot tall figure with long limbs and short hair, watching from the shadows. Skeptics claim it's a hallucination caused by exhaustion, isolation, or low oxygen levels at high altitudes. Others say it's something more, something ancient, something still out there. Hikers beware, because if the big gray man is real, you won't hear him coming until it's too late. Number 2. The Lost Colony of Roanoke. In 1587, over 100 English settlers arrived on Roanoke Island off the coast of modern-day North Carolina, ready to establish a new colony. 3 years later, they were gone. No bodies, no signs of struggle, just deserted houses, carefully dismantled defenses, and one cryptic clue carved into a tree. Croatoan. Did they move peacefully to nearby Croatoan Island, now Hatteras Island? Were they slaughtered by the Powhatan tribe? Some theories suggest they integrated with local Native American tribes, but no confirmed DNA evidence has ever proven that. John White, the colony's leader, searched for them but found nothing. Theories range from massacre, starvation, disease, or even supernatural explanations. Despite centuries of investigations, no one knows what happened to the Roanoke settlers, just that they vanished without a trace. Number 1. The disappearance of the Sodder children. On Christmas Eve, 1945, the Sodder family home erupted in flames. The parents, George and Jenny Sodder, escaped with 4 of their 9 children. But the remaining 5 were never seen again. The house burned to the ground, but searchers found no bones, no remains, nothing. Fire should have left some evidence of their bodies, yet the site was eerily clean. Almost immediately, things didn't add up. The phone lines had been cut. The ladder that could have helped save the children was missing and later found tossed in a ditch far from the house. A witness claimed to see a man watching the fire from a parked car. In the following years, sightings of the children surfaced. A photo, cryptic messages, strange phone calls. Had they been kidnapped? Trafficked? Whatever happened that night, one thing is certain. The Sodder case is no ordinary house fire. It's a case wrapped in conspiracy and chilling unknowns. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.